You fall asleep in a tent in the middle of nowhere with nothing but a thin sheet of nylon between you and everything moving out there in the dark. No fence, no weapon within reach, no one standing guard. And yet, night after night, in campsites scattered across the world, people wake up completely unharmed, having spent 8 hours as one of the most vulnerable things in the entire forest. This should feel more dangerous than it does. A sleeping human is slow to react, unaware of its surroundings, and completely defenseless. On paper, that's exactly the kind of target a predator should find irresistible. So why does it usually go the other way? The honest answer starts with a correction. It's not that predators never attack sleeping humans. They sometimes do, and in certain regions, it's a documented, serious risk. Tigers in parts of India have killed people while they slept. Lions have done the same in parts of Africa. It happens. But researchers who study predator behavior have found something consistent across these cases. Attacks on sleeping, stationary humans are dramatically rarer than attacks on humans who are upright, moving, and visible. Whatever is going on, something about stillness changes the equation, even if it doesn't erase the risk completely. So, what is a predator actually responding to, if not simple opportunity? Ecologist Liana Zanet's research on predator-prey dynamics offers a clue, even though her work focused mainly on how animals respond to human presence in general. Her studies found that many predators treat humans with a caution that goes far beyond what a rational cost-benefit calculation would predict. Wild animals in her experiments fled from recordings of ordinary human voices faster than they fled from actual predator sounds like growls and barks. That's not the behavior of a species confident it has found easy prey. That's the behavior of a species that has learned over an extremely long timescale that humans are unpredictable and often lethally dangerous in ways that don't map onto normal prey. Now add movement into that picture. Predators across the animal kingdom rely heavily on motion to identify prey in the first place. A gazelle standing frozen in tall grass is far harder for a lion to notice than a gazelle sprinting across open ground. Predator vision across many species is tuned to detect movement first and shape second. A human lying still inside a dark tent doesn't trigger the same visual cues that a walking, gesturing, upright human does. In a strange way, sleep might make you both more vulnerable and, at the exact same moment, harder to recognize as the specific kind of target a predator's brain is scanning for. There's also the matter of scent and unfamiliarity. Researchers who study large carnivore behavior near human settlements have repeatedly documented that many predators, even ones capable of killing a human easily, go out of their way to avoid direct confrontation, retreating rather than engaging once a human is detected up close. Some field researchers have proposed that predators may treat unfamiliar scent combinations, campfire smoke, sunscreen, tent fabric, human sweat mixed with soap, as unclear signals rather than a clean read on vulnerable prey. Uncertainty for a predator that could be injured in a fight is often a strong enough reason to move on rather than risk it. That last point matters more than it sounds like it should. An injury that would barely slow you down could be a death sentence for a wild predator. A broken tooth, a torn muscle, an infected scratch with no way to treat it. Researchers studying predator hunting strategy have long noted that most wild predators are remarkably risk-averse when the potential cost of an encounter is uncertain, often choosing to let an ambiguous target walk rather than gamble on an unfamiliar one. A sleeping human, silent, motionless, wrapped in strange-smelling fabric, doesn't read clearly as safe prey. It reads as an unknown, and for most predators, unknown is reason enough to walk away. None of this means sleeping outdoors is risk-free. In regions with dense predator populations and limited prey, attacks on sleeping people do happen, and local research on those specific cases has shaped real safety guidance, like sleeping in enclosed shelters rather than in the open. But across the overwhelming majority of humans sleeping in the wild scenarios, across millions of nights spent in tents, cabins, and open camps throughout history, the pattern holds. Stillness, unfamiliar scent, and a species' long, costly memory of what happens when it tangles with humans combine into something that looks, from the outside, like near total safety, which brings you back to that thin sheet of nylon. It was never really nothing standing between you and the dark. Underneath it, invisible to you, is a version of caution built up over an enormous stretch of time, shaped by every predator that ever misjudged a human and paid for it. You weren't unprotected out there. You were surrounded by an old, quiet agreement most of the forest didn't need reminding of. You fall asleep in a tent in the middle of nowhere, and you wake up unharmed, not because nothing was watching, because whatever was out there already knew, in the deepest part of its instincts, that stillness and uncertainty are usually not worth the risk.